Welcome to Lucidity, where having access to amazement and entertainment anime what is my main goal. Subscribe if you love anime or just creative and original stories in general. Now, enjoy the video.
Stones at me like I'm Medusa today, and I'm blowing up like I'm a boomer today. I'm a superstar, you a consumer today. All black whip look like a puma today. I'm the king, I'm with Timon and Puma today. In dreams, I'm Big Freddy Krueger today. Don't make me pop out with that ruler today. Stretch your bitch on my dick, it's like Zumba today. If they like to shoot.
A wound that would make an ordinary man unconscious, I won't lose to it. A wound that would kill an ordinary person, I won't lose to it. To face one that is extraordinary, I can't allow myself to be ordinary. So, how this would work is that Zoro would be around 100 years old, and when he's become the greatest swordsman, some type of unknown swordsman or somebody would challenge him, and Zoro would die, smiling with happiness because he fulfilled his dream of becoming the greatest swordsman, and he died with honor. Right before he died, he would say, "I wish I can be a swordsman in the next life." And now we start with the beginning of the what if. After his dying, Zoro would open his eyes slowly. He would then wonder, where am I, while sitting up? He had attained Midoriya's memories and everything about his life. Basically, he became Midoriya. "Hello?" he would ask out loud, just trying to get someone's attention, someone to notice him, someone to, discover him somehow. Inku and the nurse would then rush into the room, and Inku would go to hug Deku, or Zoro. We'll call him Deku for now. He would then ask Inku what is going on, and Inku would say, "Don't you remember? You got hit by one of Bakugo's explosions, you were knocked out. The school rushed you to the hospital. I came as fast as I heard the news." Zoro would then think inside of his head that he's just as weak. That he's still weak. Like, why is he weak in this life? Like, what is wrong with his body? But keep in mind, Zoro is like 3-4 years old. Bakugo already got his quirk. While in the hospital, Deku would start to do some light workouts. Just a couple of push-ups, a couple of sit-ups, trying to increase his strength overall, trying to get better. Deku wouldn't be ripped, but he's a very fast adapter. So he's basically kind of like Zoro. After a week of doing all these workouts, Deku would actually return to school. Everyone would laugh at him, but he didn't care, and he spent most of his time just sleeping and eating food. And he would always wear headphones just to block out the noise, to ignore what people said about him. But again, he didn't care. He would always sit next to the window and just do his own thing. After a few months, Deku would be around the age where he would manifest his quirk. Inku would take him to the doctor, but just like in the original story, he would find out he doesn't have a quirk and shall never have a quirk. He's quirkless. This would not bother Zoro, because he believed that you have to be strong with your own strength. And he saw how everybody in this One Piece world just relied on their quirks way too much. Some weeks would go by, and Deku would overhear sometimes his mom crying and talking all over the phone to her friends or whoever, saying that her son is quirkless. She would also mention how the people at her job give her more difficulties due to this. Deku being more loving towards his mother, which Zoro didn't really have of any figure parents, like any parents, so him actually having one now would give him way more gratitude. After seeing how much this affected Inku, Deku would decide to leave because he thought maybe this would give Inko's life a little bit more hope, or make things at least a little bit better. Where would I go though? Thought Deku. He has no home, no friends, and doesn't know any relatives. Deku would then decide to live in the forest, seeing that it provides shelter, food, water, and because he has literally nowhere else to go. In the forest, Deku will be doing way more intensive training, kind of like Zoro's training where he put heavy weights inside of his mouth and did those sword type of training. Deku would be lifting logs, doing push-ups, training with tree branches as swords. As Deku grew older and stronger, he would go to a nearby village south of the forest, and he would take this opportunity to steal minor money from people just wandering around so he can buy more food and clothes, seeing he only had one pair, which was not that good at all. Deku would then go to do his normal thing, go to the city and try to steal some money, but when he looked down from the roof that he just climbed upon to see who was in the village, he saw a weird man dressed in a samurai-like outfit. Deku would then laugh and think this would be easy to take him down. Deku would then take his 3 swords, or 3 sticks, mimicking his 3 sword style from One Piece. The strange man would then sense Deku was coming and draw his wooden sword, because he's not carrying around a real sword, but you'll find out who he is soon. He would draw his wooden sword and block Deku's attack. They would go to exchange blows for about 20 minutes. People would start to see what is going on. They would start clapping, being happy, just enjoying what was going on, even though they didn't really know what was going on. They just wanted to see a good fight. Deku and the strange man would be dodging each other's attacks fairly well, and the man would smile under his mask, having so much fun seeing how gifted this small child was with the sword. Both tired, Deku would jump into the air and use one stick, like put one stick behind his back. He would then yell, "One sword style, flying dragon." A dragon-shaped force of wind would surround Deku while rushing down at great speed. The samurai would jump into the air and use what also seemed like an air-based attack and counter Deku's move, also giving Deku a big slash on his chest, similar to Zoro's slash on his chest. Deku, obviously being worn out and damaged, would collapse on the floor. The man would go over to Deku, step over, look over his body and say, "Kid, you're freakishly strong." Deku would then pass out. The man would take Deku to his agency. I'll put a picture of what that looks like. After 3 days, at least, 3 to 2 days, Zoro can recover pretty quickly. After 3 to 2 days, Deku would stand up again, feeling like he's in another hospital bed. "Where am I?" he would yell. He would then see the big slash across his chest and scream in agony. "You've been knocked out for 3 days, Deku. How do you know my name?" he would wonder, seeing this strange man just knew who he was out of nowhere. The man would then explain who he is. He is Yoroi Musha, the number 9 hero. He has a samurai-like outfit and stuff, like legitimately. He's a samurai-based hero. There's no intel on his quirk, but we're gonna improvise. Actually, no, I'm not gonna improvise. Just say his quirk is unknown, like it is. Deku would then go to tell the man not to call him Deku, seeing he did not want to bring shame to his mother, and would tell the man to call him something more suitable, like Zoro. The man would obviously say okay and ask Deku if he would like to get adopted by him, seeing that he really likes how he is with his sword. Deku would also tell the man that he's quirkless, and the man would start to cry for him, or the hero would start to cry for him, seeing that this such an orphan is quirkless and left his mom just because he's quirkless and didn't want to bring her shame. As time went on, Deku would be training at the beach, actually, next to the agency. So the beach training is still happening, just not with All Might. And Deku would start to get stronger. He would earn 3 swords, which we're gonna name them later. But Deku was overall just a great person. He was just strong. He was obviously lazy. Obviously, Deku would learn stuff like reading, writing, how to breathe. And Deku would actually learn armament haki. But he's the only one that has haki in the series. By the time Deku is 16 or 15, the hero would then tell Deku he's gonna sign him up for UA. But he tells Deku or Zoro that he's gonna have to work for it. He's not gonna give him in by recommendation. He wants to see how far Zoro's training has come. When Zoro left, he wears the same clothes every day, which is also going to be his hero outfit. I'll put an image right now to show you what it looks like so you guys can get a visual. While running to UA, Zoro would trip over a rock and get saved by a girl, and he would thank her because he's not that shy. But he would also say, I owe her for this. When getting inside UA, President Mike would explain how the exam works with a practical exam and a written test. Deku would get an average score on the written part, and then President Mike would tell them to go out to the field for the combat part of the exam. When all the students started, Deku would draw 3 of his swords, all of his swords, and rush towards the robots and just slashing through them, cutting them in half. At one point, he was cornered, surrounded by about 50 robots, and Deku would say, 3 sword style, 1,080-pound phoenix, releasing a gigantic 360 air, making a miniature tornado, which is obviously pretty strong. Everybody was impressed seeing how good this kid was, and yada yada yada. Just basically Zoro being OP. Everybody would start running, and Deku would then feel the earth shaking, and he would see it was the 0-pointer robot. He would then see the girl that saved him previously trapped under some rubble. He knew he had to save her just to repay his debt. Flexing his legs, he would kneel down and jumps towards the robot, leaving a big shockwave behind it, knocking everyone down. As he goes closer and closer to the robot, he would then cover his blades with armament haki. Deku would then obviously have his headband on, because whenever Zoro has that thing on, he's, becomes unstoppable for a moment. Hashtag headband. Comment down below. Just spam that in the comments. Hashtag headband. While rushing toward the robot, he would start to mumble some words. He would say, the 9 mountains, the 8 seas, continue one world. 1,000 of them form a small cataclysm. In mid-air, he would put one of his swords in his mouth and make a triangular shape. He then continued with, and when I gather and cube them, there is nothing I can't cut. 3 sword style, secret technique. He would then start spinning the 2 blades on both hands in super fast speeds and dashing toward the robot still. A billion world trichalism. He would cut through the middle of the robot, cutting it in half. He would then start falling to the floor, and a small piece of the robot would scratch his face, giving him the scar that he has on his face. I'll put an image on that up too. Uraraka would obviously save Deku from falling and crashing to the floor with her zero gravity quirk. She would then ask him, why did you save me? Deku, who was still in pain, would reply, because you stopped me from falling earlier. Uraraka was shocked that he that he actually saved her just because he stopped her from falling. Deku would then pass out again, and Uraraka would take him to the nurse. Comment down who is your favorite One Piece character and why, and maybe some what if ideas you want me to do in the future. To be honest, I'm really trying to make my what ifs better. Tell me if you really like this delivering style that I actually did. I didn't go into full detail to bore you guys. I kind of like rushed to it, but still giving major details. Well, if you want part 2, you know what to do. Bye guys. Please comment, subscribe, like, come on, share with a friend. Come on for me.